Welcome to Daddies the podcast and our first episode in the new studio. And we actually have a special guest today. If you would like to introduce yourself.
Hey, I am Madi Gervais. I am the host of Spill the Mead, a history gossip podcast. Thank you so much for having me. It looks good. It looks so good, you guys.
Thank you. We still have some work to do. We want to put some lights up, but I think we're pretty much there. So thank you for joining us for our first episode. We had some kinks we had to work out.
Not the sex kind.
Yeah, no. The camera kind. Yes. Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I was gonna be like, we started in this studio and it's been flawless and perfect. But...
So if you want to tell us a little bit or a lot of bit about your podcast.
Yeah. So like I said, my name's Madi. My podcast is Spill the Mead, history gossip podcast. Spill the mead, like spill the tea. Get it? So the reason it's called history gossip is the research is there. This is not like a book report off wiki or anything. We're pulling different sources. You're gonna learn something, but we only tell you those like juicy bits. We kind of skip over the dates and like the politics stuff. We go over what's necessary to hit you with that story. So you're gonna learn something, but the point is entertainment. Like it's storytelling. So you don't have to be a history lover to be into it.
I'm sure it helps. You know what? What comes to mind is another entertaining history piece is drunk history?
Sure.
Love drunk history. Oh, don't you miss it?
Yeah.
Miss it?
Mm-hmm.
We need to start a petition to get that one back.
Well, if I could contribute, I'll just...
Yeah, so Eric's already on his way there.
Yeah, so
Are
if we
you
talk any
serious?
bit of history, yeah, here we go. I'm a
There
little
we
drunk.
go. Hey, there we go.
So what made you want to do like that end of history? Like what was the inception of Spill the Mead?
Yeah, so it started with a friend of mine. We were just telling each other stories. We would research historical stories, and she moved out of the podcast phase of life, and I just loved it. I loved it. So she gave me the blessing to kind of take this and run with it. But it's really just the concept of history really kind of is just gossip, isn't it? You know, like that's been passed down the lines. We get like the juiciest stories left over. There's different versions of things out there. And so again, it's just I loved history forever, and just wanting to just tell people. It's so exciting, and that fun storytelling aspect of it. And I love research, so getting to cipher through all of this stuff just to find like things that stood out to me and kind of make a story out of it is just everything.
So how do you pick like what you're going to talk about in an episode?
Yeah, so we have people, listeners will write in a lot of the time and give us suggestions like, hey, I heard this thing, or they'll send us memes and stuff. I recently did a episode on the battle asterisks of Den Helder, and it literally someone sent us a meme on Instagram. They're like, don't know if this is true or not, but and I'm like, well, let me click find out, and bam, here's an hour episode about it. Or if I come across something, again, I'm a history person, so I'm always watching and listening and following those pages and stuff. And so if we come across something, or I have 5 rotating co-hosts, and so they all are from different backgrounds, different places, and we all have different interests. And so if there's something you've loved your whole life that you want to talk about and give us that good story behind it.
There's certainly no limit. There's so much, right? Like
so much.
You've never hit a dry spell and said, well, I guess we did everything.
We're all out of history.
Never. And it's so nice too, because even within some of these stories, you know, then it starts branching off. You don't have to just tell the entire story about Marie Laveau, you can focus on how, like, she was a devout Catholic and Voodoo and Catholicism actually cross over quite a bit. Like, you can do a whole episode spiked off of that and then tell her life story in a whole other episode. Yeah, no, we're never stopping, never running dry.
So having five, you said five rotating co-hosts. So
Yeah.
how does that, like, I feel like sometimes difficult just to get us
I
to,
know.
like, how does that work?
It sounds chaotic, doesn't it? It sounds
It
chaotic.
does.
When I say it, it works. Oh, it works so well. Again, it kind of all fell into place. The universe, I really believe in that. Here I go on my woo-woo stuff. But it really all fell into place. I have a couple lifelong friends on it. I have listeners. A couple listeners jumped on. I have a professional contact in England jump on. It works so well. I do all the recording and editing, and we haven't had any scheduling issues or anything with that many people weaving in and out.
Wow.
Yeah, no, and again, it's something for everybody too, because we have an English historian, so he's going to sit there and give his take on things. He also sounds like Will Turner from Pirates of the Caribbean. Hey, ladies. But then I have one of my high school friends. We read each other folk tales every 3 episodes. We bust out folk tales from around the world, and we read each other those. I have on Patreon, we have a whole Greek mythology segment, and the co-host on there is the reigning armored MMA champion. We have so much. We have a listener who loved Egypt. She like came out with her first episode on Nefertiti. She's like, I've loved her my whole life, and I just want to like here's everything about it. And it's just so it just works. I can't explain it.
That makes me think of Pawn Stars when someone brings
let me
something
bring in my
and
expert.
Rick Harrison has an expert that he brings in, right?
Mhm.
So do you go to certain people for certain things, or it's like, well, I'll let Eric take a crack at this, even though this isn't like really his thing, you know?
Absolutely. So yeah, the formula, it goes, I research, I listen, folk tales. So I will research a topic, right? I will be the person doing the research knows the story, the person listening doesn't. So they, along with the listener, are getting all this information, like at the same time, listeners tell us that it feels like they're part of the conversation kind of thing. Like they'll say out loud in the car, like, oh my God, no way, like right along with other co-hosts and it's great. Um, but oh God, no, I'm sorry. Did I lose my train of thought? Can you remind me? So,
I do that all the time.
yeah, shoot, what did she say? Oh, sorry, I'm back.
You're good.
Um, so yeah, when I am doing research, I will be like, ooh, I know the host who's gonna listen to this one kind of thing. And then when I'm doing the listening, it is up to them. They kind of do the same thing. They know me. They're all like, ooh, this part's gonna blow Maddie's mind. And like we'll sit down and before we click record, they're like, I'm so excited to tell you this kind of thing. So yeah, no, it is. Again, everyone kind of has those niches too, which works. And so again, it's something for everyone. It gives you that vibe of being part of a friend group, you know?
You know what? You said Greek mythology.
Mhm.
That's my jam. When I was little, it was Hercules.
Mhm.
I had like a Hercules game on the PC. It was like a point and click, kind of like learn about things, do trivia questions, get killed by
Like the Disney Hercules?
Disney. Oh, I'm
Um,
sorry.
No,
Yes.
no, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but I just wanted
Yes. I loved that movie. I watched that movie. That was like the one that, when kids watch a movie 100 times.
Mhm.
My
That was
kids,
your movie.
my kids, it was like Boss Baby.
Oh yeah.
For me, it was Hercules.
Yeah.
And so I played that game so much. And then even more recently, it was the game Hades,
Oh yeah.
which is, I don't know if you play any games, Maddie,
I
but
don't,
Hades is a like dasher slasher type game. You have that isometric view from like,
Yeah.
up here and you look down at it, but it goes through all the Greek gods and your Zeus's.
You're Zeus's. No, you're hate, aren't you?
Well, no spoilers. So I think you're
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 someone's
there.
son.
Yeah. Oh, and you go and you fight.
And and you're killing your way through the
all the Greek
gods
gods.
and goddesses.
Ooh.
It's great. It's a really good game. Not sponsored, but
Not
it's
sponsored.
we played that game so much. I would like to say you were talking about Hercules being the movie that you watched. You know what mine was?
The Little Rascals.
The Rock.
Wait, well, when you were a kid.
Hurrah.
1996, baby. I was 5 years old.
What?
That was my
You
movie.
didn't watch The Rock when you were...
Yes, I did. Sean Connery, Nick Cage. That was my movie.
I still don't think that I've ever seen it.
It's so
I don't
good.
know that one. I
It's
don't know that one.
so. Ed Harris takes over Alcatraz with a bunch of mercenaries armed with poison gas aimed at San Francisco, and
It's your movie. This was my childhood movie.
You said you were 5?
I love my life.
1996. Yep. And so Sean Connery is a prisoner and the only person to ever escape Alcatraz. So Nick Cage brings him in, and they go and they take back the island.
Huh. So he breaks in.
Hashtag Michael Bay.
So he breaks into Alcatraz.
He breaks in. Yeah, because the whole time they're like, "Where are the blueprints?" He's like, "They're in my head." And so that was my movie. Sorry, I just wanted to.
It's such an interesting movie for a 5-year-old to
Well,
be.
Maddie, now we have to do
Fun
yours.
fact. That was a fun fact. God, it depends. I kind of got hyper fixated in a lot of movies. And my mom would have to take them away because it'd be too much. I'll go with the first. The OG was Disney again. Because of the child of it all. Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
Was it? And I would not talk to anyone unless they called me Alice. You had to tell me how you got down the hole. Where you going? Where'd the rabbit go? My mom's like, I can't do it anymore.
Funny.
Now, do you like the newer Johnny Depp? Were they Tim Burton?
They were, yeah.
Yeah. How do those? Are those solid or no? I haven't seen any of the newer ones.
Listen, people have a lot of opinions on live action remakes. I love them.
Okay.
So I thought they were great. They were different, yes, but I loved them. I love Helena so much. I loved Johnny Depp's rendition of it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I loved Mia. Well, I don't know her last name. I can't think of her last name, but the actress for Alice too.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Is
They were great.
that Helena Bonham?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
William Carter. Yeah.
When I think so, she was with Tim Burton forever, and they were together in every movie. Like if there was a
Okay.
Tim Burton movie, she was probably in it.
Are they not together?
They are not together. They
Did I just find that out on Daddies the
Woof.
podcast?
you did you heard it here first.
First, how much later?
How many years later? Spoiler alert: they're not together anymore.
Oh my god! Oh no! Okay.
But I don't think they were ever actually married. They were like, we were just together for so long.
They're just an
that
item.
What is that called?
Common law marriage.
Yes, right. Yeah, so they're not together.
My mom loves Alice in Wonderland so much. She had at one point, she lives in I don't know, so many years have passed. It's 100-plus-year-old home, so it's so old. So they've been having to do renovations always and forever. So and one of those things was, we're going to kind of redo the kitchen, and the outside the kitchen is the basement door, and they had somebody come in and paint the door Alice in Wonderland. And down at the bottom of the door, they have cats, and they have a little cat door, and then down in the basement they put the cat boxes, like the cat litter boxes. So through the rabbit hole, or the cat hole, I guess they would call it, would open up for the cats.
You know what? I didn't know. I was over there last night.
Seeing my mom, right?
Yes.
And then she had a big, you know what? Our boss actually made the same joke.
Wait a minute.
The way you guys talk to your boss, I got a taste of that earlier. He's like, hey, just a sec. I got to take this call for my boss. What'd you say? Jesus Christ. It walks out and I'm like, is that your guys' boss? Like,
So we are very fortunate with, we don't like talk about where we work, but we're very fortunate with who we work for and with.
Yeah.
yeah, he seemed chill as hell.
Especially
For
because like some of the shit that we talk about.
They love it.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't love it.
I'm pretty sure I posted a Ookie Cookie clip like
Yes, you
5
did.
minutes ago.
Yes, you did. But anyway, so my mom then, she said, I want to die in this house. We get a little morbid. So she needed to get a way to get her butt upstairs, like for when she gets old and she can't climb the steps anymore. So they had a whole addition put in and an elevator put in. Yeah. And like it's one of those elevators with the what are those, like the scissor doors,
like the old school.
or they'll like
Ooh.
collapsible.
Mhm.
So you can see through the other side, like so the back end and the front end are both see through. And what there is so you're if you're upstairs and you're going down, it's like another Alice in Wonderland portrait. So as you go down, you descend into like the depths of the Alice in Wonderland world.
Listen, I have dibs on your mom's house tonight. I'm going. That sounds great.
Greg got last night. You got my mom's house
I'm
tonight.
gonna ride that elevator.
Wait, but hear me out.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking forward to getting old so I can get the chair lift.
That sounds awesome,
Right?
I got up the steps while sitting.
Right?
Have you guys sorry I feel like I've talked about memes too much, but do you know that meme that just kills you every time and it shouldn't? It's so simple.
Mm-hmm.
The one of the person sitting on one of those chairs and it says, "This shit drives me up the fucking wall." I lose it every time. And I'm just like, share. Like just every time. That's my meme.
You're speaking my language. I'm dad joke central.
It's so good.
Uh-huh.
And
so good.
whenever I see someone getting one installed, like you'll see like the Stairmaster, I shouldn't be envious because like that's normally not a good look, but
Hey, if you live in an aging neighborhood, it's probably a good investment. If you're ever looking to sell your home.
oh, for sure.
Right?
But they're ugly as
Yeah,
fuck because the track goes all the way up. Like,
They should do something. They should do something about that.
hey, that's
Side
an
gig.
idea.
Side
How
gig.
do with the three of us we create an attractive contemporary stair lift?
Oh my gosh, you could put like pretty little fringes on it, like old timey billiards tables. You know what I'm talking about? This shit drives me up the fucking wall, but it looks pretty, like a nice mahogany, like
Yeah.
throne style.
Because
thing.
they're always just white and it folds up or sits down. What if you could adjust the speeds on them?
Oh, make it like a ride.
Hey.
Hey, bring the grandchildren over.
Throws you off when you get to the top.
Wee, pshoo. Hey, look, I got this far, and they like it's like sand up there, like the long jump.
And you
Look how far
mark.
I got.
So off of not related to chair lifts.
Yeah.
Do you ever record or you do a whole bunch of research and then you record an episode and you realize like, shit, that didn't go, or I didn't like the final product that came from that? Or are you always like super satisfied with the end result?
Oh man, it's like you know me. I am a notorious very hard self-critic. So after I record, every time I'm like, maybe I could have come in with that harder. I also I do my best, and my notes are pretty fun to look at because I'll have little asterisks. I'm like, hit hard on this, like take a break. We're just paraphrasing. You know the story, girl. Go. I'm like hyping myself to like keep that energy kind of thing. So I do my best. But after episodes, a lot of the times I am like, oh man. But then I start editing, and I'm like, okay, no, there she is. There she is. I do like it. But me being the person I am, every time I'm like, probably could have done that better. Like, dang.
But you go hard enough. You dedicated yourself enough in the prep and the during.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
good.
Yes.
I feel like I have off days where I'll just like,
We recorded an episode a couple nights ago and I was stoned off my ass, and we were
Nice.
sitting there recording, and then like halfway through I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about, and then I had to go through and edit it, and I realized I said the word like 89 fucking times in like
Oh,
40
man.
minutes.
Yeah.
And so then I was like,
you sounded like a valley girl.
and I just did it there. So I was
It's me. You sound
watching.
like me.
Well,
like
I've probably done it this whole time. I'm so sorry in advance.
and so I watched a YouTube video, and they said pause. So silence is better than a like or an So stop, like statement, stop, continue the thought.
like a nice thoughtful pause.
But
Yes.
that's also sometimes not feasible, right? Like if we're really going in.
I'll tell you what. Who
Yep.
does it is anytime Elon Musk talks, and you know what? Whatever. Think of him what you will. But he I mean, he's got all that money. He's doing something right. But you listen to him in like a podcast or an interview setting, and he'll go, Well, and it's like I'm like as a driving in my car, I'm like, wow, that was uncomfortable. Did he like just shut down?
I am Tara. I have a dead air phobia. So I feel like
Sorry
I'm
for that. I'm
always
sorry for that.
no. I've gotten good at because my thing, I'm a liker. I'm a liker. The P and W girl, you know, but I'm also a um and so I know what that sound wave looks like now. And so I just go through and like cut, bleep, not even gonna listen to that. That's fine. Like, and then it that's sandwiched by likes every time. And yeah, I do my best. I cut them out. I take the time to sit there and cut out likes if I can't
It's
stand to hear myself talk.
it's really, I'm learning, common for people to remove the word like and
You said it's not uncommon?
it's not like it's common for people to want that. Uh, they like the likes do, I think, take away when every other word is like. I think sometimes they're natural, but if you say it like, it does start to take away, I think, from the conversation.
Hear me out. You do as you edit that stuff out, right?
Mhm.
Put them somewhere else, and then do a supercut of all the likes.
I love
Ready?
a super
Here's
cut.
here's what it's gonna sound like at the end. Like. I like it.
We
I
don't
like
talk politics, but wasn't there that video of Trump where it was just the different times of him saying China? Just cut.
I love a super cut. At the end of all my episodes, I do like a blooper reel, however long. I think the
Yes.
record is like a 3-minute blooper reel on one of them. And they're just gold. But on one of my Patreon episodes, I do super cuts of if something comes up a lot. And the super cut word for this Friday's episode, it was tetanus. Of all things. And it's just like tetanus. And that's why I didn't get the tetanus booster. Gotta watch out for tetanus. Cocaine's better than tetanus. Tetanus. And it's just like, what? And I cut that whole rant out of the episode. And so people are gonna be listening to this blooper like, what the fuck? What was this weird tetanus rant that you guys were on?
I love like just blooper reels.
Oh, I
Like,
thought you were gonna say
yeah.
tetanus.
tetanus is all right too.
Tetanus not bad. I love
Tetanus
it when you
not
can't
bad.
move your jaw.
Yeah,
Oh man,
yeah.
she was educating me on tetanus. That's awful. And you don't die. You don't die. You come out of it. You just have to like go through that. I mean, I'm sure maybe sometimes you die, but the way she was telling me, you just endure for weeks and then you come out. Oh God. Anyways, look up tetanus.
Things like that are fucking terrible. Like I deal a lot with food safety, and botulism is another one where it can kill you. But I always tell people you're probably gonna wish you die if you
Before you
don't,
actually
or
die.
if you don't die, you're probably gonna want to die because it's so fucking brutal.
That sounds terrible.
And tetanus is probably the same fucking way.
Oh my God. However, the historian in me, this is literally how I think. Have you ever been just like so sick, whether it's a hangover or just sickness, whatever, like you're puking, you're shitting, you're so sick. And I'll be sitting there the whole time. I'm like, some people died of consumption. Like, I'm not even dying. Like, I'm just gonna come out of this and be okay. Like, imagine dying from that, you know?
I think every time I have like diarrhea and I'm just shitting or vomiting, I'm like, yeah, I think the same way. It's like, well, if I didn't have this Pedialyte right here, that would probably be a wrap for me.
Yeah, die.
Sure. Rip.
This would be it. This would be the way that I go. No, I know.
Yeah, no, I definitely think about that all the time. So walk us through I'm always interested in the recording and the editing process, because I feel like a lot of times people just see the end result, but I'm interested in the how did you get there?
Yeah. I have my little setup here. I told you guys about that. My recording days, again, 5 rotating co-hosts, my only recording kid-free days are Wednesdays and Thursdays. So some weeks I use that time for editing. Some weeks we're gonna record. So I try to have some in the arsenal because of the long distance of it all. So my method, I tell everyone that, hey, we're talking. We are talking. I'm going to click record. We'll start when we start. We'll pause when we pause. I will edit all of that out. Like just talk. If there's something I also let everyone listen to their episodes before we post them. So if they're like, let's take that rant out, which it's never happened, but there's the option there too. And so, or if like information like, I misspoke that date or something, like there's that chance kind of thing. But so my recordings, sometimes I'll have like a shout out Riverside, not a sponsor. But I mean, like if you wanna, but sometimes they're like a 4-hour recording because we're just going, and so editing rolls around.
Does that exhaust you? 4 hours, right?
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't exhaust either of it, because we'll look down a lot of the time and be like, oh, we've been rolling.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Do you so are there breaks sprinkled in when you're doing like a long, like multiple hour session? Are you like at some point you got to piss and probably eat something?
Yeah, gosh. Most of the time we don't go into it expecting a huge rally. So breaks again just like come up like, can we pause and you to get another drink? Can we pause, got pee? And like again, it's just coming. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll go too, kind of thing. Girls long distance still like, oh my God, are we going to the bathroom? Cool, I'll go too. So but like and so we take breaks as needed. Sometimes though, I love research, and I do occasionally love a deep dive. I have a 5-part series, 13 hours and 7 minutes on Catherine of Aragon, Henry VIII's first wife. I read so many books. It's the most detail. Got really good feedback on it too, which always feels good. 'Cause the detail, I poured my heart and soul, months of research. Those episodes were long. Going into those ones, I'm like talking, I'm like, okay, Coco girl, give me your eyes. I'm so sorry. Hydrate, like have snacks on hand, and because in that one was a little more, I wanted that one to hit well with like the Tudor history crowd too, and so I put a lot of pressure on myself. So sometimes very few and far between they're intense like that. Usually we're chit-chatting, let's go kind of thing.
Have you, I mean, since you have like your co-host, you kind of know how those individuals interact with you. Do you ever like bring other guests on that you have never talked with before? Like sometimes we'll have interviews. Not saying you, but like it'll just be like all right, well that's a wrap.
Yeah, I think we better wrap this one up early.
I'm over here like I'm just like really hard on myself,
Well, so we would type out really detailed questions. So for anyone listening now, we are completely unscripted. We don't really have any questions. We just kind of know where we want the conversation to go. But we used to type out really in-depth questions. And by that, I mean ChatGPT used to really, give us really in-depth questions. But then we would ask, not a sponsor.
We would imagine
ChatGPT
sponsoring us.
Well, that would just be a Microsoft sponsorship, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. All right.
And so we would ask these questions, and then we would get yes, no, and it's just like,
oh yeah.
So
then you're leaving the episode
felt like a dentist pulling teeth.
Well, because at that point we had like 10 questions. These questions should take like 10 minutes to answer, and then when you're answering it in 5 seconds, well, those episodes ended up being like 20 to 30 minutes. So to touch on what you said, it's always satisfying when you put in the work and then the response for it is great, and everyone's kind of having those in-depth conversations. It
also is a bit of if we have that, and this was very early when we ever saw that, is your skill as an interviewer, right? Like being able to just carry on a conversation. And I think that we definitely do better, just no script, straight up, just kind of riffing. You got to know stuff though. If you don't know anything about the person or about the subject, you're gonna flail. But if you can say, like, if it's just a conversation that we're having, if you ever met a person and it's just said, "Welp, I don't know where this conversation's going." Like that doesn't normally happen. I mean, yes, there's awkward silences. We talked about the dead air, but like a regular conversation with somebody is just that. And then a conversation flows. So I guess it has to feel like that.
Agreed. And very early on how that conversation's going to go. Like we've done interviews before where we knew that we had to implement like a pre-screening kind of thing when people asked to come on, because we were going through this period when we first started, and I don't know if this was if this ever happened to you, but anyone who would ask to come on, we would say, "Yup, hell yeah."
Yeah.
And so we ended up getting some people where it was like, and then those episodes never aired because we were like,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
so we were like, we need to put something in place and then kind of work on like a filter system and how we're going to speak with people.
You know what? Saying no is saying yes to yourself.
Hashtag William Hung.
Wow. It's really beautiful.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
You should get that tattooed on you. I like that.
I should. I should.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I had a tattoo.
Yeah.
Ooh, you're
This was my
overdue.
last one, and I should finish it. Star Wars.
You should.
You
Yeah.
should finish it. Here's your sign. Here's your
See,
sign.
this is
I'll do it. I just need money.
Yeah.
I feel like tattoos are so damn expensive,
Yeah.
right, Maddie? You have tattoos, you know, we have like,
yeah.
and once you have kids,
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
very hard.
Where money?
Yeah, what
I-
money?
I do
yeah.
have to say, so I saw, Maddie, that you posted you're going on a trip.
Yes. Our little Spill the Mead field trips we do. That's something we're really coming into as well. So we're gonna try to do them twice a year. We have 2 cooked up this year. But yeah, we last year we went to the Parthenon in Nashville, and we have our Nashville listeners. We kind of look at where we have good volume. And so Nashville happened to be one of them. And like I mentioned, my co-host earlier is a armored MMA fighter. They have armored cage fights in Nashville. So that's where the championship happened to be. And we're like, well, I might as well hop on that opportunity. So we took a guided tour with our listeners, like through the Parthenon, full scale, only 1-to-1 scale Parthenon replica in the whole world, Nashville, Tennessee. And so we did a whole little, tour through that. And we're like, we should do this. We should do this all over. All of us, an overlapping interest. All of us love traveling, love tours, love history. So in April, our next one is going to be in Seattle.
Oh,
And we're going to do the underground tour because the city of Seattle burned to the ground. Was it? I'm not sure. We haven't done the tour yet. But there was a disaster there of some kind, and they literally built Seattle on top of a city. So there's an entire city just underground, and they do tours of it. So we are going to have a private group, get our listeners together, and yeah, go on this tour. We all hang out together and, chit chat, and tour guides are great because they tell you all the stuff, they tell you all the side stories.
Is it in like Rome where as above, so below, where they go into the catacombs underneath Rome?
Yeah.
Is it kind of like that where there was like, I guess those are just catacombs. I guess that's not a whole city built underneath. But that sounds crazy to think about. Hey, there's all this stuff under here.
Yeah.
So I have thanks for letting me flex on it here. I've been to both. I've been to the catacombs in Paris, and I have done an underground tour in an old west town here nearby where I live called Pendleton, Oregon. Very, very different vibes. The catacombs is literally just skulls. People carve their names and stuff into these human skulls in the catacombs. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Anyways,
Crazy.
imagine having the balls to do you not believe in anything? Or you're just human passion. I don't know. It was just very mind-boggling.
and
But
so do you in the catacombs? Do you have access to all that stuff?
it's right there. You can.
Have you ever seen the movie?
I have not seen the movie.
I vividly remember it being a scary ass movie.
I think because it scored low on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was
Don't
kind
pay
of
attention to
bougie.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Look. But anyway, yeah. So you can just access.
It's right. It is. It's
Wow.
right there. They
Okay.
have in this one room, they have a few things like this, but in one room, in the middle of the room, there's a big pillar, a giant, round pillar type thing made of skulls, bones stacked on each other. So, it's right there. You can brush up against it. It's a lot. And right when you enter, you go down this huge spiral staircase. And right when you walk into it, it says something to the effect of say goodbye, to the world above kind of thing, entering the world of the dead now, kind of thing. And you feel it like you feel that presence, and people are in there carving their initials, and I don't know.
So is it like, what kind of feeling is it like? Do you get a feeling of sadness, or is it just creepy?
Just like heavy. And so the catacombs are huge. They go through all of Paris. And so they have all these passageways down there that have these closed iron gates. And it's just darkness, going down these passages. And again, it's literal. The hallways you're walking down is bones, like femurs, aren't like things stacked on each other with skulls all the way back to it goes feet back. It's really eerie, where the underground tour in Pendleton, there were some places like that. Because again, there are storefronts, Old West storefronts underground, sitting down there. I will say different. The catacombs, I guess you knew, like what that was going to be when you went down into it. You knew that you kind of expected that heaviness there, but there was this one room in the underground tour in Pendleton, because in the Old West there is a big Chinese immigration population, and they would make them stay underground during daylight hours, and so they would live down there. They had all these bunkers and stuff, and there was one room where they would use it as their prison because the law did not help you up at all, so they would govern themselves. And there was this room, and in the back of it, my co-host with me, we walked back there, and I was like, I have to get out of here, I can't be in here. And we heard the tour guide say later, she's like, yep, you guys are welcome to go down there, I don't go down there. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't either. And in that same room, when you went to leave, there's this big pile of rocks. Because again, there's in the Old West, if you're moving money or goods, you're not doing it above ground, you're going to get robbed and you're never getting it back. So all of these rock tunnels underground, and one of the walls was coming down. There's this pile of rocks. And again, the tour guide's like, feel free to take one. Some people do. And I'm like, oh, the fuck I won't.
Yeah, right. Thanks. Yeah.
My co-host, Coco, shout out for the bravery, did take one. She's okay so far.
Good.
And it's only, if she needs to return it, she's only 3 hours away, so she can do that. But that was, whew.
That makes me think of we're in Delaware, so we're close to DC. So that kind of feeling of just heavy, the Holocaust Museum in DC. That's what I think of. You walk through that, and if you want to,
I went through when I was in like middle school or high school or something. All I remember is all the shoes.
The shoe room is fucking sad. Like the whole museum is sad. It's one of it's so fucking sad, and that just, I think that for me is like the saddest museum I've ever been to, but I've never been into like catacombs.
I don't think that I've ever been in another sad museum.
I don't think so either.
Most museums I go in are like happy.
It's the American History Museum or the Smithsonian dinosaur bones. Yeah, right. Like that's sweet.
Yeah, Sabretooth. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But the Holocaust Museum is one, where that one is heavy as well. You should feel something. Like when you're in the catacombs, you should probably feel something.
Yeah.
You'd like to think.
It's weird because you look at a skull, right? Like we all have skulls and bones inside of us, but it's like there was a person at some point. This was somebody
that didn't decide that their skull was going to go in this wall.
No.
Because all of our skulls could end up in a wall.
It could.
I
suppose.
Yeah.
Someone could come and carve their name into your forehead. Like
that's wild to me.
Now,
and it should get haunted. You'd haunt
could it be romantic?
Maybe. Is it like the what is it, the locks and the keys in is it Rome or Italy, where you put the lock on the fence and you throw the key in, but if you carve your name into someone's skull, I don't think it's the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know that first thing you were talking about.
I'm pretty sure it's in Europe, where there's like locks on a fence and you like.
Yeah, I know exactly what you were talking. Is there one in Paris too?
Maybe it is
There's
Paris.
multiple, but it's like a bridge and you put like a padlock on it.
And then
people write their names or something.
I would write like your name and be like, our love is eternal, and then throw the key in.
No one will ever unlock our love.
Unless somebody comes with bolt cutters and they just cut the lock off.
Fuck your love. Yeah,
right. That's also something that could happen.
Yeah.
I love the idea of though taking these trips and meeting your listeners. Do you like?
It's like you're going on tour.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly what it
you
is.
are. Do you have do you have certain areas that have more listeners, or is it pretty spread? Like, is it equally spread?
It's pretty spread across countries too, which is like so cool to see. But yeah, no, it is pretty spread out. RSS is what I use to upload everything, and it spits out a really nice population density map weekly. And so I can kind of Seattle is always one of the top 3 places, on there. So that's a good way to gauge. Again, though, listeners have already started writing in and been like, can you come to my area? I know that it's here, but we have this really cool kind of thing. And so again, we'll listen to that. Like we will absolutely like take that into consideration if it's cool enough. But there are some places where we do have a plan because they're too cool. Savannah, Georgia, most haunted place in America other than Gettysburg.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so that's one, like you got to do that one day kind of thing, so there's some where we're just going to do it, but we're so open again, like the listeners, the way we interact with them and everything, again, it feels like a friend group meeting people in Tennessee, and just we like one listener couldn't make the tour and was like, can we just like go to lunch or something? We like went to lunch with her, sat down, like we had known each other our whole lives. Like
that's awesome.
That's Love the vibe. It. Yeah. And we just talk about history, talk about like our favorite episodes. It's great.
Have you done a trip to Gettysburg? Is that one that you?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
too.
Gettysburg is so good.
Oh, I when I was in high school, my senior year, we did like the DC trip thing. So I did go there. I don't know, like it's nothing like crazy happened. It must have just been the years of just partying and alcohol abuse where I don't like retain that trip that well. Like I don't remember Gettysburg. You could plot me there right now and I would be astonished to see it. So I would like to go back there. My
for the first time again. Right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It would be like I never saw it. You know what? Oh my God, we're gonna unpack it right here on Daddies the podcast. You broke my heart with Tim Burton and Helena Bonham Carter, and now I'm gonna work through some childhood trauma right here. The only real takeaway I remember from that trip is because again, Pacific Northwest over here, we're real friendly. We're friendly people. Like we're smiling. We got a lot of guns. Like it's be friendly or we'll shoot you, I guess. But we're friendly people. And like the East Coast is hard, man. Like again, you're on the phone with your boss, like Jesus Christ, right, and like having a good conversation. And so I was in Boston, and I love hockey, and the Bruins won. And like I'm in Boston and the Bruins won. I'm jazzed for them, And this guy, I'm 18 and I'm soft. I'm a soft person. I was even softer at 18. And this guy came up to me, Bruins friend, and like agreed with me so hard on like go Bruins that I cried. Like he was just so like, bro, like no fucking go Bruins. I'm like, no, I know, I love it, like, and like. And that interaction is like all that I remember of it. And so, there's we'll work through that.
We talk about this a lot. So we're super close to Philadelphia. We're about 45 minutes. And if you're in Delaware for whatever reason, you have to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan.
If you're in Northern Delaware, you're an Eagles fan for sure. But the more south you go, the more likely it is that you're a Ravens fan.
A Baltimore Ravens fan. However, if you go to Philadelphia and you go and you watch the Eagles play and you root for the other team,
good luck.
Get ready to get your fucking teeth bashed in.
Yeah, I saw a fucking broadcast from 1980 or 1990, whatever. Honestly, any footage over like 15 years old just looks ancient.
Old as shit, yeah.
And it was this guy wearing some other team's like outfit, Commanders or something maybe. And no, you know what? It was Packers because it was the Packers game last weekend. And the guy, like they like yoinked his cheese head and they threw it and they were like about to fight. And this was on TV like 30 years ago.
And
it hasn't changed.
That's why I refuse to go. So I'm a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, and they just
nobody's gonna fight you because the Jacksonville Jaguars
aren't good. They're gonna be like, oh, sweetheart.
Nope. Fuck. Fuck.
They almost like, oh, it's all right, big guy.
If you well, we almost beat the Eagles, and
fair.
but
That's
walking in there with any other team, fuck no.
And if they had beat the Eagles, then you should be worried.
Or well, because they all you watch any video after the Eagles play. And everyone's just, we bleed green, get fucked. And it's like, dude, who the fuck? We had this conversation also, right? Yeah. If a team loses or wins, it should not dictate your fucking life because it means nothing to you. But for whatever reason, Philadelphia, and I think they're typically voted like the most asshole fans.
Yeah.
Just the most aggressive people. And also,
I won't go there. I'm out.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
And I'm saying this on Daddies the podcast.
Yeah.
And we're probably I'm gonna get shit for this. Philadelphia cheesesteaks aren't shit. They're not the best cheesesteaks in the world.
Hold on. I won't disagree with you right now, but I think if we're talking 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if you ordered a cheesesteak, they would straight up give you like a piece of steak on a roll with cheese, like cheddar cheese or something.
Well, they use so Cheese Whiz.
That's what we use.
Is what we use.
So it caught on. It caught on with the rest of the world. So you can go and get a decent cheesesteak, a good cheesesteak even, in most places in America now.
But, I mean, in Philly, you have Pat's and Geno's. Like, when you think of Philly, like, that's what people talk about. Like, these are the best cheesesteaks. You can go to Jersey and get a cheesesteak that's just as fucking good, if not better.
I don't really like Pat's or Geno's.
No, it's overrated. So if you ever go to Philly, avoid these. Philly is cool. I mean, you have the Liberty Bell, so there's some history there.
I just went there the other day.
Yeah,
I went to the Museum of the Illusions Museum or something.
That's a happy one. That's a happy one.
That was I told you I only go to happy museums.
Happy museum.
And it was raining, and they like fucked up my booking, so I had to go like 4 hours later. So I walked over to the Liberty Bell. It's that close, and like you can see it from outside. And the line to get in was like also an hour long, and I didn't want to stand an hour in the rain. So we ended up going to the Barcade.
Okay. I mean, barcades are cool.
Barcade was cool. Yeah, I played a lot of pinball.
The best thing about Philly is you have some of the coolest venues for music. At least that I mean, we've been to music, concerts, a lot of different states, but there's something about the scene in Philly that's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know what your music scene's like out there, but
oh, and Boise, Idaho, I don't either. Seattle, hey, I'll let you know in April. It should be pretty booming there.
Yeah.
I mean, Seattle is Death Cab. I think Death Cab are based out of Seattle.
I love that.
Nirvana.
Yeah.
That's what I got. Lenny, not Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz?
Is Lenny Kravitz based out of Seattle?
We have a funny Lenny Kravitz thing.
Maybe.
We have a burrito place that we like to go to. It's called El Diablo. I think it's just a Delaware thing.
Think Chipotle, but better.
Okay.
Everything about
like
it
the
is better.
concept.
So, I mean, we work together, and sometimes, I mean, we're like pieces of shit. We go out to eat lunch a lot. We have no willpower. Like we just say, hey,
I get it.
I walk in, and he'll come by my office, and he'll go, "Hey, did you pack your lunch?" And I go, "No." Where are we going to lunch?
Yup.
Yeah.
So then we'll go out somewhere to eat, and we'll just get in the car and start driving, and we go, where are we going to eat? And we'll turn on the radio, and certain artists mean different places. And the most notable one, the funniest one, would be Lenny Kravitz. And Lenny Kravitz always meant we'd go to El Diablo.
And we did that for years.
I love that for you guys.
It's been a while.
You know what?
That's very cute. I love that
dinner?
friendship.
What are you eating for dinner?
Apparently El Diablo. Someone put on
I was gonna say,
Kravitz. Yeah.
Let's find out.
Call in the local radio station and ask them to put it on.
But yeah, so Philly's cool. I don't want to get completely demolished by Philly people. But
Philly is cool, but it's tough.
But
it
it's
is just
tough.
tough.
Oh,
I'll tell you what. I'm not a Philly guy, but we're close enough that I think that we just it leaks out, and we are just probably, I would say, tougher, but more used to the like more aggressive behavior. I went down south for I used to be in like youth group for a church, and we would go down and do a mission trip in Wingate, North Carolina. I don't know. I couldn't point Wingate out on a map of North Carolina if you asked me to. It was that long ago.
Yeah.
But I like some person like I bumped into a person. I was just walking and I didn't see him. And They turned around and they apologized profusely to me. And I was like, because I was ready to be like, yo, what's your, and they apologized. And it was just like, I didn't know there was another way to live except just like angry.
That's all we know.
Yeah.
We're East Coasters, you know?
Yeah, I know.
That's what we...
I get it. You bump into same thing. I'd be like, I'm so sorry. I deserve to die. I should not have been standing in your way. I have no right to be in your presence. I am so here's $10. I am so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That sounds Canadian almost.
Well, did you see the video of that guy in New York when he was like, hey, somebody's walking here? And then she comes up, she's like, we do not talk like that. That is not how we speak.
He was making fun. He was making
like,
fun.
Forget about it. And she comes over and just whacks him in the fucking head. New York's another one that, you know, I not a huge fan of.
Sure, yeah.
I recently...
sorry.
No, it's not. It's not important. I recently saw a reel. God, just memes. Hi, that's the message today.
Yep.
I saw like a whole compilation though of this clip of Coney Island and just like different people of it. I'm like, nope. Like I can't do it. You know,
it wasn't those guys that were going bing bong.
Yes,
bing bong. Fuck your life.
Like,
what is it? Joe Byron.
Joe Byron. Take me out to dinner, baby.
I love those guys. They're fantastic.
That's one of those where every time it comes along, I'm like, and it's a share. It's a share. I love that one so much, but I can't be right there. You can't block me right there, but I can sit right here and watch it and love it. But yeah,
if someone came up to me and started hitting me with the bing bong, fuck your life, I would be one of these.
No,
I'm gone. I'm out. I don't know what you want from me. Nothing. I have nothing here for you.
You got served. Yeah, there's nothing you can say to that. Like I'm like, fuck. Okay, fuck my life. Like, I'm sorry. So sorry. Bing bong. I'm sorry. Fuck my life.
Or else, Maddie. So for the people listening, for our listeners, how can they? So you mentioned you have a Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
So how can Patreon is obviously there's different content that you release there versus everywhere else. So how can people listen to Spill the Mead?
So every Wednesday we put out an episode on Apple, Spotify, just out. And that is that formula I told you earlier. I research, I listen folktales every Wednesday. Every Friday on Patreon, we have different content. We have 2 different tiers there so far. Working on a 3rd tier that's going to be a lot of, I love a blooper reel, so it's going to be a lot of behind the scenes from these field trips that we're taking and that kind of thing. But yeah, no, please do listen every Wednesday, wherever you stream, wherever you're listening to this right now, please give it a shot. There's so many different episode topics. Again, something for everyone. You don't have to love history. You just have to want to be entertained. You have to like the F word. You have to be okay with that.
All of our listeners.
If you're listening to us, I hope that at this point they've discovered that.
And if you don't, fuck you.
Yeah, right. Fuck you.
Bing bong.
Bing bong. That's great.
TM.
And we'll also link everything that you just talked about in the description as well. But thank you for taking the time to sit down and talk with us, especially since this is a special episode for us because once again we're changing up how things
Greg,
are.
Can I ask you before we get done?
Yeah.
How often were you thinking about what to do with your hands?
I keep like rubbing my fingers. I don't know what to do with them.
I was thinking about it a little bit and I would look down and I would go, I would look at the camera, the screen right here, and I would go, why are my fingers like spaced like that?
I know.
And I was like, I can't move it because I'm looking at my fingers right now.
Yeah, I know. You guys have been awkward as fuck this whole time. No, no, you
damn it.
No, thank you.
No. Actually thinking I'm no dead ass. I would not say anything. I wouldn't say anything. I, honest to God, have thought, it's like, God, they look like really natural sitting there. Like I've been over here shifting all over the place, but I have not noticed.
I think actually this feels great.
So this is the first time. So we used to record together, but for the last almost year, we've been recording at our fucking computers, like sitting in a chair. Yeah. So it's a lot easier. I feel like when like you can only see like this part.
Yeah,
you know,
it is.
But then you got like it took us a while to figure this out.
Yeah,
So
no, it looks great.
I'm
It really
glad
does.
that it's translating.
Yes.
But
It
thank
really.
you, Maddie of Spill the Mead podcast.
Yes,
Dude,
thank
thank
you.
you so much. Seriously, what an honor. The first one in the new studio.
The first one. We are
Yes.
super thrilled that you joined us. I'm Greg,
And I'm Eric.
and we are the Daddies. Thank you for listening.